Now part of the Darkcast Network. Welcome to Indie Podcasts with a Dark Side. On August 11th, 2024, Ryan Borgwardt, a 35-year-old father of three from Wisconsin, left his home for a solo kayaking trip on Green Lake. It was a trip that he's taken many times before. Nothing seemed unusual. He even texted his wife at 10:49 p.m., letting her know he was heading back to shore. But the next morning, he was gone. Today, I'm going to tell you about this weird missing person case that's not really a missing person case of a father who went out to get milk, cigarettes, whatever you want to call it, and then never came back. Welcome, lambs. Welcome to Love and Murder, Heartbreak to Homicide. I am your host, Kai, and I am back. Yes, I was out. I actually got my tooth pulled. Then after that, I had a bad allergic reaction where I couldn't stop sneezing. I just kept sneezing. I couldn't open my eyes. I don't know what was going on. Thankfully, AI Jane, AI Jessica, and AI Jensen was there to fill in, which it was just really me typing up the story and putting it into the AIs and trying to make it sound as human as possible. I hope the sound quality was acceptable to you. Let me know in the comments what y'all thought about them. But I am back. If you are new here, my name is Kai, and I will be your host. Take a seat, take a listen. If you like it, then go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss any more love and murder cases. If you're a returning lamb, as I always say, thank you so much for being here. Trust me, I don't take it for granted. If you didn't know, you can also subscribe on our Patreon, patreon.com/Love and Murder. If you want to be a sponsor of Love and Murder, just go ahead and choose whatever tier based on the bonuses that you want, and you can be a sponsor of Love and Murder. If you're not ready to be a sponsor, I understand. You can sign up for free so you still don't miss a lot of things that I post around the internet, and you get some benefits just for signing up for free. Patreon.com/Love and Murder. Speaking of Patreon, I want to thank the sponsors of today's show and all my shows, our Lamb Patreons. Thank you so much for your monetary support, your continued support. Thank you so much for believing in me and Love and Murder. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and grab our butts. You know what I love to drink. Let's grab that apple juice. My favorite apple juice comes from BJ's. And I'm not just saying this. Literally, that's where I get my apple juice from. Where you can actually support Love and Murder. If you wanted to start shopping at BJ's and save you some money, you can sign up using my link, murderandlove.com/BJ's. And in return, you're going to save $35 on your yearly subscription. That's murderandlove.com/BJ's. And now let's get into the episode of Ryan Borgwardt. When Ryan didn't come back home, his family reported him missing at 5:34 a.m. on August 12th. The search immediately began as soon as he was reported missing, and deputies found his car and trailer near Dodge Memorial Park. As investigators searched the lake, they found a capsized kayak, a fishing rod floating nearby, and a tackle box with Ryan's wallet, keys, and his driver's license inside. Based on all this that they had found, police thought that Ryan had drowned. For 54 days, search teams used sonar, underwater drones, cadaver dogs, and volunteer dive teams to try and find his body. Bruce's Legacy, a volunteer recovery organization, spent 28 days scanning Green Lake, which was a 200-foot depth at times, but they didn't find his body. The thing is, though, the more investigators thought about it, the more something about the case didn't sit right with them. As they dug deeper, the narrative of drowning made less and less sense. By early October, detectives had shifted the investigation from a missing persons case to a possible staged disappearance. The reason why this is because investigators discovered that shortly before disappearing, Ryan had transferred a significant amount of money to a foreign bank account. In January, he'd also taken out a $375,000 life insurance policy. The day he disappeared, he'd wiped his laptop's hard drives and cleared the browser history. Then he made a new email address and had been communicating with a woman in Uzbekistan. So this is why the details just didn't add up. Why would a man supposedly drowning in a tragic accident be making financial transactions abroad? Why had he meticulously planned his digital footprint before disappearing? And why was there no body despite an exhaustive search effort? By October 7th, 2024, the Green Lake County Sheriff's Office held a press conference. Instead of announcing new search developments, they dropped a bombshell. They believed Ryan had faked his own death. As authorities reconstructed Ryan's escape route, they uncovered a carefully orchestrated plan. Number 1, he'd placed an e-bike near the boat launch before setting out to the lake. Second, once on the water, he capsized his kayak, left his fishing rod behind, and threw his phone into the lake. Third, he used a small inflatable boat to paddle back to shore undetected. He hopped on the e-bike and rode 80 miles, which is 129 kilometers, overnight to Madison, Wisconsin. Now, I gotta tell you, he's doing this for a woman overseas. Would I bike 80 miles for my husband if I wasn't already married to him and like something tragic was really going on? Just some dude that I met on the internet, would I bike 80 miles for this person? Absolutely the bleep not. I'm going to tell you that right now. Absolutely not. This guy seems uber desperate. He had a wife and kids. He left his whole family, biked 80 miles. Uber desperate. Now, I know y'all are like, how you're so judgmental. Yes, I am. In this instance, totally. You could hate me if you want. The fourth step was from Madison, he caught a bus to Detroit and crossed the border into Canada. Now, once in Toronto, he used Western Union to purchase an Air France ticket. And the final step was he boarded the flight to Paris, then made his way to Georgia, which is a country that was part of the former Soviet Republic. So, picture this. By the time Wisconsin search teams were dragging the lake for his body, Ryan was already overseas watching the news unfold. He's just watching people be worried about him, probably watching the news with his wife crying, please, if anybody knows anything, his kids crying. He's just sitting there in some woman's house watching this on the news. If you think I'm not going to judge, you're crazy. For months, investigators worked with Custom and Border Patrol, Homeland Security, and the FBI to locate Ryan. Then, in November 2024, they made a breakthrough. Authorities discovered Ryan's link to the woman in Uzbekistan. She then became the key to contacting him. Through her, law enforcement received a, quote, proof of life video on November 11th, 2024. In the video, Ryan sat in an apartment wearing an orange t-shirt, calmly speaking. Quote, good evening. It's Ryan Borgwardt. Today is November 11th. It's approximately 10 a.m. by you guys. I'm in my apartment. I am safe, secure, no problem. Now, you're his wife. You're looking over at your crying kids because they think their dad is dead. And you see this son of a on the TV talking about, I'm in my apartment. I'm good. Everything's fine. What would you do? Because I got to tell you, Uzbekistan isn't far enough. I have parents I could drop my kids off to watch them, and Uzbekistan isn't far enough. I know some people are like, well, I'm not going to waste my time on... No. You inflicted pain on me, and more importantly, you inflicted pain on my children? No, absolutely not. I'm not saying I'm going to go kill anybody because that's too crazy. I'm not going to jail for anybody. I'm just saying Uzbekistan is not far enough. Now take from that what you may. It was at this point that his family realized that Ryan had orchestrated all of this and had abandoned his family. Piece of garbage. Then out of the blue on December 10th, 2024, Ryan voluntarily returned to the United States. Now, why did this happen? Like everybody's wondering. Did the pressure of everything get to him? Had he run out of money? Did he realize that the law would catch up with him at some point in time? Or, my personal favorite, did the woman think that you were too desperate and didn't want you anymore? Regardless of the reason, he walked into the Green Lake Government Center and surrendered himself. Sheriff Mark Potok told reporters, quote, he came back on his own volition. We brought a dad back on his own accord. Ryan said that he'd studied past disappearance cases and said that, quote, everything hinged on me dying in the lake. He said that he thought police would, quote, stop searching after 2 weeks. What a piece of... They better really get him in court. On December 12, 2024, Ryan's wife, Emily, immediately filed for legal separation. That is right. Emily. That's right. I would too. Her petition cited their 22 years of marriage as, quote, irretrievably broken and requested, number one, full custody of their 3 children, child support payments, division of assets and debts, and her legal fees covered by Ryan. Also, Your Honor, I would like to put in my petition, am I allowed to, slap him with a rotten piece of fish? I'm just wondering. If you say no, I understand, but I'm just putting it out there. You don't have to answer right now. Take some time to think it over. It could be, you could choose how rotten the fish is. It could be 1 day in the sun, anywhere from 1 day in the sun all the way up to 2 months in the sun. But, just mull it over. The separation documents listed Ryan's occupation as, quote, self-employed with an unknown address. Now, we would think that given the amount of resources that was used to search for him, Ryan would face serious legal repercussions. That's what I would think. That's what I'm hoping. However, I only bring it up because I already know what's going to happen. Instead, he was charged with a single count of obstructing an officer, which is a Class A misdemeanor with a maximum penalty of a $10,000 fine and 9 months in jail. He had a bond set at $500, and no additional fraud charges had been filed yet. Some legal experts suggested that insurance fraud could follow because staging a death with an active life insurance policy could be considered a Class 1 felony under Wisconsin law. So there's always that. Now, I'm going to ask you, Lamb, do you think the punishment was lenient? Now, keep in mind that a 54-day multi-agency search effort cost between $35,000 and $40,000. Not including the thousands of dollars in damaged equipment used by Bruce's legacy volunteers. And by thousands of dollars, I mean about $10,000. So with that in mind, what are your thoughts on his sentence? Let me know in the comments below. I'm also going to just put out a poll asking if you think it's too lenient. Yes or no, that's all you have to do. But I would rather hear your comments. Green Lake Chief Deputy Sheriff Matthew Van Kolk summed it up best. Quote, I can't comprehend their situation to anything I've ever experienced in law enforcement before. Now, Ryan was supposed to be in court on January 13th, 2025, but as of yet, I haven't found an update to this case. So as usual, I'll keep my ear to the ground and see what happens. Since he's gotten back, Ryan has not spoken to his wife or children. Quote, they're doing okay. That's probably the best thing you can say. That's what Van de Kolk said. Now, everybody's wondering, well, by everybody, I mean me, why go through all of this trouble only to come back? What was the real motive? Why did you want to leave your family and go over to Asia? Is it Asia or Europe? Or is it Eurasia? I don't know. Either way, why did you want to go to the Uzbekistan? And how did you really expect this to play out? I mean, I guess he said that he thought people were going to stop searching after 2 days. I don't know why he got that in his head that you would think people would stop searching for you after 2 days, but I guess he thought he was going to just stay up there, be gone, disappeared, have all his money, and live out his fantasy life with his new girlfriend. I don't know. Maybe he wanted to divorce his wife. Maybe he was going through a midlife crisis. And maybe he didn't divorce his wife because he figured it was too expensive because you would have to pay, child support, what did they call it? Child support, spousal support for the divorce and all that stuff. So you thought you would do it this way, but then you shouldn't have done the whole fake your death. Even if you did that, you shouldn't have taken out the life insurance policy because then that's thievery. But you shouldn't have done the whole fake your death thing. Just go get milk and don't come back. I mean, that's horrible. I'm laughing. That's horrible. But look at all the resources and all the people you got involved. That's freaking crazy. And in reality, I say you should have just gone and bought milk, but in reality, you should have just put on your big boy pants and told your wife, hey, I don't want to be in this marriage anymore, have a conversation with her and let the cards fall where they may. You're going to have to pay for it. You had children with this woman. You wasted 22 years of her life. It is what it is. But this is all speculation on my part because we haven't actually heard from Ryan why he did this. So I'm just speculating, just spitballing, brainstorming, trying to figure out why he did this. But even though we don't know why he did this, one thing is very clear. His actions, his irresponsible actions, left a trail of broken trust, shattered lives, and a lingering mystery that may actually never be solved if he doesn't stop being a coward and open his mouth and say why he did it. But really, he doesn't owe us an explanation, which actually I think he does because you made it play out in the media this way. If you had done it privately with your wife, then I would say you didn't owe us an explanation. But since you decided to make it public, I think your explanation should be public too. But in reality, he doesn't owe us an explanation. He owes his wife and kids an explanation, especially his kids. Because as a spouse, you ask to be in that person's life. You do. Children don't ask to be here. They literally don't. You decide to have intercourse with your husband or wife, and then you decide to spit out children. They never asked to be here. It was not a choice. So 100% you owe your children an explanation. But what do I know? I'm just a podcaster. And that is all I have for you for this Monday case. What did you think about this case? Let me know in the comments below. And like I said, I'm going to post a poll. You can catch that poll in the Patreon. You can catch that poll hopefully on the Spotify. I really don't post on social media anymore. That's why I'm trying to get everybody over to my Patreon, whether you come on for free or the paid. I'm just it's just getting to be too much. And even though I am getting followers, it's not a lot of interaction. And it's just, most of my interaction comes from the Patreon anyway, Spotify, and my YouTube videos. So I kind of stopped wasting time posting on social media. I might go back to it. I'm only human, so I might go back to it. But right now, everything is so busy. So I'm just, if you want to comment, if you want to join into the polls, then it's going to be on the Patreon, patreon.com/loveandmurder. You don't have to pay to come onto the Patreon. If you want to come on for free, you could definitely sign up for free and the poll will be available to everybody. Or if you listen to this on Spotify, as long as Spotify lets me put it out, the poll will be in Spotify also. Or another way you can reach me is by leaving your thoughts in the comments below. Oh, you can also go to my website, murderandlove.com. And if you want to leave a voice comment, you could send me an SOS. I think you only have 30 seconds or a minute to post a comment there. Or if you want to leave a longer voicemail, you could actually just record it on your phone and then email it to me at noconductradio.com. So all these ways you can get in touch with me. And I'll play your comment on air if it is a voice comment. If it's written, I will read it in one of the episodes. Speaking of comments, let me read a couple of your past comments. So the first comment comes from, the episode was named A Mother's Love, a Son's Greed, the premeditated murder of Athena Valentini. And Deborah said, it wasn't a great childhood because she always worried about the bills. She owned a condo in Grover Beach, California, plus a rental property. Cha-ching! All as a single mother who worked as an LVN for the CA prison system. Her wealthy boyfriend died and she and her son got a nice, quote, settlement from his estate. Who was this wealthy boyfriend who died? Why didn't she marry him? There's more to this mother and son relationship than we've been told. What about his father's family in Hungary, where she too was born? She had him around 38 years old, which is later in life than most moms. Who is the bio father? That's all great points to bring up, Deborah. And I wouldn't really wonder about who's the bio father. I would wonder about where is the bio father. Is she just leaving trails of bodies lying around, or that's what I would be wondering. Also, Denise Nicey said, people should watch his actual interrogation with police. It's on YouTube. Narcissists think they are the smartest person in the room, and the level of gaslighting he was attempting to do to the detective was off the charts. Now, I believe I did have that video in the Patreon. I can't remember. I would have to check. Actually, let me check right now. Okay, I thought I had that video in the Patreon, but for this case, I don't. However, for most cases, if I do find the investigation video or the interrogation video or anything like that, court dealings or anything like that, I always put that as bonuses. That's part of the extra that you get for being a Lamb Patreon. For this case, I do only have the pictures that came with the case, but I'm going to search for that interrogation. And I'll actually, since this case came out in December, I'll actually put out the interrogation video for everybody to see. So all you have to do is go ahead and be a subscriber to our Patreon, patreon.com/loveandmurder. Like I said, you could sign up for free. I'm going to go ahead and post it for everybody, for the sponsors and for the free Patreons. Patreon.com/loveandmurder. I'm just going to have to find it first. And that is all I have for you today. Go ahead and leave your thoughts in the comments below, and it will be read on a future episode. Thanks so much for joining me. Thanks so much for continuing to listen even when I was out sick. I'm so excited to be back. So happy to be back talking to my lambs. Love y'all. And as we end each full episode, which full episodes, if you're new here, are our Monday episodes. So as we end each full episode, I want to remind you that it's, say it with me now, all love and no murder.